Shalom everyone and Shavua Tov. We are now in the beginning of a new book, the book of VaYikra, Leviticus, or in Hebrew it's called also Torat Kohanim, the wisdom or the wisdom of Kohanim, of the Kohanim. Leviticus, it's about the Levites, so it's the Kohanim and the Leviim and the Levites. And what is this book about? Because it's all about sacrifices and purity and all kinds of customs that are not being used anymore. They're not part of our daily life so much. And it's a whole volume of the 5 books of Moses. So what's in it for us? And in order to understand this book and also this special week, because this Shabbat is not just Shabbat VaYikra, it's not called Shabbat VaYikra, it's called Shabbat HaChodesh, which means we have 2 readings this Shabbat. One is Parashat VaYikra. Also, we have a reading of Parashat HaChodesh we read from Exodus chapter 12 from the beginning. And this is about the new month of Nisan and the Exodus. Why? Because this Shabbat we're celebrating the new moon of Aries, and we're starting a new month, a new season, a new life. So where are we standing? So as we said before, that when we are reading the book of Genesis, it's להתחיל מבראשית, it's to start all anew, start from the beginning. And what does it mean starting from the beginning? Starting from the beginning is that if we did, as we said, if you really did a great job on the days of the Slichot, of the purification, preparation, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Simchat Torah, we're probably new. And if we are not new, in case we are not new, we still have to learn everything anew because we need to start all over again. We have to start to learn how to give and how to share. And we have to learn that from the attributes of Abraham, the patriarch. And I'll repeat again, and we have to learn also how to walk with the left foot. So we have to learn the attributes of judgment, Gevurah, of Isaac, the patriarch. And we have to know and learn how to balance the two. And this is the story of Jacob, the patriarch. So we have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then we need to learn about Joseph, which is how to bring the abundance from above to below, Sfirat Yesod, and the 12 tribes. It's all about learning how to control, divert, transform, use the 12 attributes that we have, which are called the 12 signs of the zodiac, that each person has some of each, and the personality of each one of us is just the combination of all 12 basic forces. Now, after we understand that, we can understand that the end of the book of Genesis, now we're ready. Now we're ready. We got into our gym, and we are prepared to get a life. And that's what the book of Exodus is about. And the book of Exodus is about getting a life. This is our journey towards freedom, releasing ourselves from whatever is making or putting us in slavery. And that's a fight against Egypt, then the Exodus, then Mount Sinai revelation, then the building of the tabernacle, which means Exodus, which means being free is not enough. When are you free? When you have your life structured, when a system is done and it's made and it's created, then you're free. You're free really to create, and that's the building of the tabernacle. Now that this is over, now another journey is starting, and this is the book of VaYikra. What is VaYikra? The word VaYikra means, and he called. Who called? There's no subject over there. There's only noun, VaYikra. And that's the calling that all of us are experiencing in our life. It's the calling that we have to go through, that we have to experience, because it's the calling is there, as the Zohar is saying, The calling is there all day long, every day, 24/7. The question is, how do we hear the calling? Moses heard the calling. How? The calling is just an immediate extension of previous week's reading. At the end of Parashat Pekudei, at the end of the book of Exodus, the last verses were explaining about how all the Mishkan, the whole tabernacle, was built, was constructed, and now the glory of God had been seen on the tabernacle, and the cloud rested on the place. And now the result is verse 1 of chapter 1 in Leviticus, VaYikra el Moshe, and Moses he heard the calling. Now, so we got it. A lot of people don't know what's their calling. A lot of people have no idea who they are and what they're here for. Every person has his own destiny and calling. Every person has his own job in the bringing of humanity back together as one. During the sin of Adam, all of that has fallen apart. The journey of humanity in the last few thousand years is building it back up again, creating that unity again. When every person can hear his calling and get from there what he has to do, and he does it properly, that's when we call it the Messiah, which means when humanity is being anointed with that special experience of a harmony, of a great symphony, that everybody is basically doing their job, which is the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement in the 18th century, when he was asked, when is it that the Messiah will arrive, he said, when every person will basically do their job, which means, first of all, you have to know what's your job. Second, you have to do it. Okay? Now, how do you know what is your job? How do you hear the calling? Okay, this reading is about it. It's about what we have to go through now, because this reading of Parashat VaYikra is going to be read this Shabbat, and this coming Shabbat is also the first day of the month of Nisan, the month of Aries. Aries means a new part of the year is starting. Aries is about the spring cleaning, not just the physical cleaning from the chametz towards Pesach, but we know that according to Kabbalah, the chametz is the symbol of whatever is making our heart sour or bitter or swollen, or whatever makes it not being able to hear the calling. Now, let's go back to what we just said. How do we get the calling? So as we said, first of all, you have to train yourself to be balanced, to learn how to share, to learn how to care, to learn how also to receive in order to be able to share. You have to do it on the spiritual level, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You have to learn also how to manifest it in the physical world, Joseph. Okay? Now, you have also to learn how to run away from all this exile. And what is the exile? Whatever cuts you off from being yourself. And as I said many times, my teacher used to say that if you take away the troubles from a person, most people he knows will have an identity crisis, because most people identify themselves with their limitations. And the problem is, you're so focused on my problems, my condition, my anger, my ego. You just want, whatever you want to name it, you're so focused on it, you're holding on to it, because you become what you're focusing on. Same thing. If you ever seen somebody walking on a tightrope between two huge buildings, there's wind, and there's also, it's like, even without the wind, it's very dangerous, right? What is that person supposed to be focusing on walking on that tightrope? Focusing on where do you want to get? You cannot focus on what are you afraid that will happen to you. Because if you're going to look downwards, you're going to go where you're looking. Is that clear? We're not supposed to focus so much about what hurts us, what upsets us, what bothers us. This is an occupation by itself, and we'll leave it to the shrinks. We have to focus first of all and for all, what is that we want to become? Because only then, when we're moving forward, we can overcome all our conditions and problems and issues. Because this is the way the Torah is teaching us. You have, yes, to get out of Egypt. But as we learned last week, even if you make mistakes, you have to still focus on going forward. And that is why immediately after Moses coming down to the physical world with the 2 tablets the second time, and it was on Yom Kippur, the next thing he does the next day is getting everybody together to start building a tabernacle. They don't have time to sit and cry and mourn and have some committees about what is it that we did wrong. Yeah, we have to be careful not to make mistakes. However, being busy with the mistakes is the biggest mistake we can make. So focusing on whatever you call it, your disturbances, your problems, your condition, whatever hurts you, focusing on that is never going to make it right because it's wrong. How you're going to get the power to make it right is by having a goal holy enough, strong enough, exciting enough, which is connected to the true you, because then you know how to get the power because you know what you want to be, and that's good enough to get rid of what you don't want to be. Because if you focus all the time on what you don't want to be, whoever learned about the physical brain and the spiritual brain, the physical brain, it does not understand no. When I say I'm not angry, I am angry. When I'm saying I'm not upset, I'm upset. When I'm saying, people listen to what if people are talking all the time about being upset, I'm not upset, I'm not supposed to be upset, I don't want to be upset, I decided not to, you're upset because that's what you're talking about. Because that is your focal point. And as we said many times, a human being has a movie theater. It's inside your brain in the frontal lobe. And you know why we have a forehead? This is the screen from the inside. And whatever movie you are projecting on the screen, this is the movie that really controls your life. So if you project a movie saying that all the obstacles that happened and all the mistakes you made were for the good, and that's what spirituality is about, and they're going to lead me to working harder, to get to the person I want to become, when I'm focusing on that, who I want to become, that's what I become. When I'm focusing on the mistakes, that's walking on the tightrope and looking down there. When you look down there, you just follow your look. So be very careful about it. It's the game is not easy. It's not easy to balance on the tightrope. And we learn what Rabbi Nachman of Breslov said, Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzamo. The whole world is a narrow bridge. And the most important thing is not to be afraid. VaYikra lo lefached klal. Because what does it mean to be afraid? Is that you are focusing not on your goal, but you're focusing on your fears. And then when the fears take over, then you become what you fear about. And that's, a prophecy that is fulfilling itself. Asher yagorti bali, whatever I was afraid of, that's what came to me. Why? Because that's what you draw upon yourself. So you have to be very careful about it. So yes, you make mistakes. Whoever makes effort and makes whatever makes mistakes, because that's how you learn from the mistakes. Whoever doesn't do because he's afraid is the biggest mistake. So then the next thing is VaYikra el Moshe. So the moment everything is ready, so then the calling is coming through. The calling is coming through. And the Zohar has amazing articles about it. Amazing. It's about the word VaYikra. The Zohar explains if you change the letters, it's the word okir. Okir means when you really appreciate someone and make him precious, and that's what Moses becomes because of his efforts. And this is not the glorification of Moses, but it's about us. How do we reach that glory? Now, it's all starting when the cloud is resting on the tabernacle. And here, during the whole parashot, the coming weeks, from now on, all the way till just before Shavuot, we will be busy in cleansing. A lot of people are not just doing spring cleaning, which means cleaning in the house. There's also spring cleansing. This is a spiritual medicine explains that this is when your body is cleansing the best. So a lot of people go on diets, not just because the summer is coming. It's an inner feel that you need to purify yourself. Juices, all kinds of special diets in order to cleanse yourself, because this is the time to get all the poisons that we accumulated in the last 6 months of the winter. So now it's time to air everything out and to let it flow, because the energy is starting to flow just in the new month that is coming, the month of Aries, on the coming Shabbat. And Aries is the beginning. This is the beginning, which means this is when the energy of the whole year is centralized, and you should use that energy for cleansing. And cleansing, that's the cleaning for Passover, cleansing from negativity. And so what are we focusing on? The chametz, the impurity, the negativity, or are we focusing about the holy day of freedom? Your choice. And then we go into 7 weeks of cleansing. That's the counting of the Omer, all the way till Shavuot, where we can receive the power of immortality. So all is about cleansing. Cleansing from negative, poisonous thoughts, energies, materials. This is the time. And here it is. So the book of VaYikra, it's all about cleansing. From now on, as I said, till before Shavuot, which is in 10 weeks from now. So we have 10 weeks of cleansing that we're just starting with this week. Now, so when it says that Moses is receiving the calling, it's after the cloud has rested on the tabernacle, which means that the cloud is resting not from God, but it's a man-made seat for the cloud. What does that mean? So we explained it many, many times, and I'll explain it again, because this is what we have to be focusing on, is how do we get that calling, how do we purify ourselves so we can hear the calling and realize as we do the fine-tuning in the next 10 weeks, so we know where to go. So there's an amazing book that is called From Good to Better, that explains about this guy, Wilson, that he did this research, and about a bunch of companies in the Wall Street, that he found out that they were good for about 15 years. They were going up the scale, making money. Their stocks were going this way, or maybe this way, okay? And then suddenly, it skyrocketed. And he tried to check what made the difference. And he said that all companies that he took did the same thing. First of all, they changed the CEO. And they put a CEO that he was not about me. He was like Moses. He was about the company. And not just about the company, like Moses, it's about having unity, love, and appreciation among the people of the company. Now, in this book, it is proven that some of the basics of modern business making are totally wrong. One of them is you have to set a goal. These companies did not set a goal. Why? Their method was that as long as we are not united and we are not together in sync in the right way, how would you know what is the right goal? Which means, first of all, you have to build up the team, the teamwork, the team spirit, to build up the purity of mind of the brainstorming among the people of the company. That was the main goal, purity. The moment there was purity and there were the right people in the team, he said it was like first he got the right people on the bus and then they knew where to go. Which means as long as you're not so sure who you are and what you are, and you're busy with a lot of disturbances, any kind of goal that you're going to set is not going to be your calling. It's going to be somehow diverted by all the problems that you harbor inside yourself because you're not pure enough. In order to find your calling, you have to be first pure enough. And that's why these companies, they did not set a goal. But the first thing they said is, who do we want to be? We want to be a company that is a community of harmony. You know what happened? When they had the right people, they just knew it where to go. It just came their way. And the calling came במקרה. What I mean במקרה? By coincidence. Coincidence. What do I mean? That it coincides purity with the true goal. That they have to coincide. So the cleansing is the cleansing from negativity, from selfishness, but all the cleansing has to be created through unity and removing to the side, taking away whatever is not serving that goal. Now, we know, as Rabbi Ashlag is teaching us, that every person is born as a baby with the main trait which is called desire to receive for the self alone, which means I want, and I care about no one because I want it now. Okay? And then a lot of people, they go on with that to the rest of their lives. Now, you don't want to work with people like this because they're poisonous. Because you have to understand, the moment a person is selfish, it says in the Talmud, Reshaim b'chayehem nikraim metim. Selfish people are dead while still alive. Why? Because life is the light force of the Creator. The moment you're selfish, you and the Creator are not in the same place and are not on the same page. The Creator is here and you're there. Life is here and you're there. So you're not where life is, so you're not getting life. So you're dead. That's why I always say that for meeting so many people along my life as a teacher, I never met happy, selfish people. It's an oxymoron. Selfish people are usually sour. If they are happy and excited, it's not happiness, it's an excitement that it's a high and a buy. It's short-lived and doesn't stay because it has this tendency to short-circuit itself, and then it caves in with another headache, with another pain in the morning after. The only happiness that stays is happiness that is generated with hard work, with love, with caring, and being there for others. That's why Rav Ashlag is saying we were created as a community creature, each one of us. That means because when we are part of community, we are surrounded with a lot of people that have needs. It is not there to bother us. It is there to help us get out of ourselves. So one person can give service in his job, and he's upset every time somebody needs something from him. And the other one, when anybody needs something, is excited about the opportunity to be there and to create light out of darkness for somebody else and also for yourself. So, as we said, the first stage is that stage of selfishness. When we are around the 2 years old, then we have what is called the terrible twos. The terrible twos are about that when a child starts to communicate with his environment, then his mother usually is starting to make conditions. You want the chocolate, you have to finish your potatoes, right? So then the child is annoyed. How come there are rules? There were never rules before. There was never conditions before. I want it, I got it. Oh, they changed the rules. I know some people that are in their 60s and they still didn't get out of the terrible twos. If it doesn't happen the way they want, they really get upset. There's a drama. Who suffers from that? They suffer first. First of all, that's very painful, long death. Okay, but that is when you start realizing around 2 years old that what can I do? You want to receive, you have to give. Okay, so you start to create what is called relationships. What is relationships? Says Rabbi Hashlag, basically that's commerce. You give your aunt a kiss and she gives you a toy. That's commerce. Do you really to give her a kiss? No, you want the toy. You know you have to give the kiss in order to get the toy. Okay, that's a rule. So you start trading. You know, I'm there for you, you will be there for me, and so on. And the problem over here that this is very sensitive because what happens if you're there for somebody and they forget to be there for you? Oh, that can be a big drama. Yes, it can be very painful because why? Because that stage is not the stage we're supposed to be there yet. So we need to go higher. And this is, most people stay at stage 2. But stage 2, there's a higher stage 2, which is stage 3. It's another aspect. It's still desire to share for the sake of receiving, which means called trade, but instead of giving to someone because you want him to be there for you, which is real simple trade, although this is very dangerous. Why? Because then you're out of the system. What do I mean out of the system? The moment you count on another person's action in order to have a well-being, you are out of the business because that's called idol worshiping. It says in the 2 tablets, you should not have another God but me. The moment my happiness is dependent on somebody else's actions, then you have another God. That's the beginning. That's idol worshiping. And then what happens? Here we go again into hysteria, into stress, into blame. You're out of the game. You're back into dying, into death. So the elevate stage is the next stage in which you start to be smart enough by learning, by imitating other wise people, and that is by achieving meaning. What does it mean, meaning? That you still give in order to receive, but you're not expecting any person to give it to you. You give because you receive a meaning. You give because you know that by that you connect to the light of the Creator. At that moment, you cut off your slavery to human beings, to physical happenings, to paychecks and stuff like this, and you start attaching yourself to the light of the Creator. You're still in that stage of desire to share for the sake of receiving, but you're investing in a better bank, the bank of the Creator. This is the cosmic bank. When you start to do that, the more you give, says Rav Ashlag, the more you share, the more you care for others, the better you feel about yourself because you're getting more aligned with the Creator, and no one controls your mood. Nobody controls your well-being. Somebody promises going to give you something, he doesn't give it. Okay, it's not the time. Why? If it has to be the time, if he is not going to give it to me, somebody else is going to give it to me, right? So that's nothing to do with that person. Why should I be dependent on the person? You're not supposed to be dependent on the person. This is a problem. This is an addiction, to be dependent on the people. Okay? Our happiness has to be dependent on one thing only, our connection with the light of the Creator. Nothing else. So We start on that stage. And what happens? The more we do spiritual work, the more we care, the more we share, the more we build these little tabernacles in different actions every day: work, family, friends, community, wherever we do it. The more we do it, the more meaning we receive. And the more meaning we receive, the more powerful we become. And those actions of giving and sharing and caring and giving service and being there for others, they do not go away. They become an army of angels. Or they become, we know, an act of sharing and loving and kindness connects to chesed. And chesed is the power of water. And a cloud is made of many, many droplets of water. So the more actions of caring and sharing, the more we busy ourselves with being compassionate towards other people, we create more droplets of water. And you know, when you have a lot of droplets of water, you create a cloud. And a cloud, this is what rested on the tabernacle. And when you create a cloud, you become the tabernacle. You become the seat for that cloud. You know, when a person is in such place that is not affected by other people, you even say that he's walking on a cloud, right? He's walking on a cloud. You know, you curse him, he doesn't care. You disappoint him, he doesn't care. This guy is not from here, he's walking on a cloud. Who created that cloud? Each one of us is supposed to create that cloud. This cloud is giving us a shield, a protection, and this cloud is also where the calling is coming from. Because, you know, today in computers, everything you have, you're afraid that the computer will collapse because that's what computers do. Sooner or later, they all collapse. So people learn that you have to save everything on the cloud. And also, if you want to attach yourself to more information, where you're going to draw this information from? The cloud. Everybody puts it in the cloud. So there is a physical cloud, which is not physical, it's virtual cloud in the servers of who knows how many companies around the world. And there is the real cloud, the cloud of the Creator. This cloud has the answers. This cloud will connect us to the real world, to the upper world. The messages, when they come to the cloud, they are clear, they are precious, and they are true. So the stronger the cloud that we create, the clearer are the message. And that's how, after a while of working on that, building that cloud, you're so much surrounded with this energy of loving and sharing and certainty that you lift yourself to another level, which is the desire to share for the sake of sharing. Why? You're so much in love and caring and sharing, you're not afraid and you're not waiting for getting anything in return. In the beginning, in stage 3, you're still waiting to get in return. What? The fulfillment, the high, the cloud feeling. Now you're not there anymore. You just do it because you do it, because it became part of you. You cannot be on that stage, says Rav Ashlag, too much, because we are not the light. And the moment you just give for the sake of giving, you get empty. But you still want to give. So now you want to receive. Why? So you can continue giving. And that becomes into desire to receive for the sake of sharing. In that case, whatever you want to receive, it's not because you want to receive, just because you want to continue giving. That can never separate us from the Creator. Why? Because this is endless. How come this is endless? It is endless because it doesn't stop with you. You don't have any selfish desire about it. You just want that others will be okay. That's the way a mother feels toward her children when they're sick, and that's why she never gets sick, taking care of them. That's the way a doctor feels towards his patients when he really has to care for them, and that's why he's getting never infected, because it's a desire to receive for the sake of sharing. This is the highest level of a cloud. You're walking on a cloud, and this cloud protects you, surrounds you, gives you messages, directs you. It puts you in a different world. It's a world of the cloud. And this is what the whole book of VaYikra is about. What is the purity that you have to reach in order to create that cloud? Because that cloud separates you from all people around you. They are not in the cloud, so they laugh at you, they ridicule you, or they envy in you, and that's why, or they want to join you. But this cloud is what everybody wants to feel. Nobody wants to be running around like crazy, pulling his hair off because of the stress, because it's not fun. It's not fun. We're not made for that. It kills us. The cloud that we have to generate and create for ourselves, this is what the Torah is talking about. When this cloud is ready, when you prepare the seat for that cloud, then VaYikra Moshe, the calling is coming through. The message is delivered. And suddenly you know where to go, what to do, and how to do it. And you have no idea why and where, and you don't even care. That's what's called, when you're connected. When you're connected to the cloud that you created. Nobody can create it for you. Okay? Unless you're part of a loving, caring, and sharing community, as we said in the previous week, and you join, and it's one for all for one, and you're willing to give up your selfishness, your complaining, your negativity. Why? Because you care for the cloud. Because if you're saying, no, I'm not going to complain, you're complaining. I'm not going to be upset, you're upset. But you've been focusing, I'm really excited about being there with others and sharing and caring and giving of myself. This is the right way to go. So when it says VaYikra Moshe, and he called, and the message came to Moses, and God spoke to him from the tent of the covenant to say, Daber bnei Yisrael, talk to the children of Israel, v'amarta alehem, and you should talk to them. Okay? Adam ki yakriv mikem korban laHashem. And there's a problem with this verse, because it says Adam. Usually it says Ish, a person. Adam is also Adam. And we all know that a human being has two parts. One part is the physical part, the body part. The body part, we received it only after the sin of Adam. This part is what we have to fix. This part is a part that always brings us down, draws us down. It's the desires, the selfish desires, the physical desires, all the addictions that we have, whatever. This is all the, animalistic part of our nature that gets, our adrenaline going, and all of those emotions of little frightened, upset, or territorial, or vicious animal, okay? That is fighting for survival, which is okay, but you have to remember that is not in the cloud. This is in a physical world, and that always pulls you down. So what do you have to do with that? It says, Adam, that part of you that is directly from Adam, the spiritual part of you, has to bring the offering. Ki yakriv. Korban, the sacrifice. But the Zohar says, what do you mean korban, sacrifice? Sacrifice is a terrible word. People always, miserable people always sacrifice. I sacrifice my youth for that. I sacrifice that for my children. People who sacrifice, they're always feeling depleted. Well, the Zohar says, no, it's not sacrifice. The word is korban, is coming from the Shoresh Kuf Reish Bet, which is karov, getting closer. So that's bringing an offering. This is not a sacrifice, it's getting closer. How do you get closer? Because it says you bring getting closer, mina behema. Because the verse says in Leviticus chapter 1, verse 2, and it says, mina behema, from the beast, mina bakar or mina tzon, from the cattle and from the flocks. If we say the beast, you don't need to say cattle and flocks. No, it says from the behema, from the animal within you. That part of our consciousness we have to lift up to get closer to the Creator. How? By using it, by harnessing it to serve something that is higher and bigger than just the animalistic needs of each one of us. So when you're part of a community work, when you're part of a spiritual work, when you're part of it, helping and making and asking yourself all the time, how do I make this world a better place? Every moment of my life. That's harnessing that beast in me, that the beast basically wants to be okay, pleasure, and safe wherever I am. Beasts don't care about the rest of the world. They can't even think about what is not here and now. Beasts cannot think. But Adam, when we are part of Adam, that each one of us has his own calling, because each one of us is part from Adam, a different part. So each one of us, says Rabbi Zakloria, has his own mission, that if we don't do that, who's going to do it? Who on earth is going to do it? There's only me who's going to do it. Well, what about the others? Oh, they have other missions. They don't have yours. Nobody have yours. Okay. So understanding that, it says, so how do you do that? How do you elevate your beast? That's by the sacrifice, the offering from the cattle and the flocks. Now, on our day and age, that we do not have animal sacrifices, okay? But so we have basically one thing, which is how do we basically take all these animalistic needs, desires, thinking, passion, and so on, and how do we elevate them in order to make this world a better place to live in? Okay, so that's why the whole parasha is about those issues and those issues alone. All of it is also connected, as we said, to what this Shabbat is about. In every synagogue, they read from two books of Torah. One is from VaYikra, another one is from Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. HaChodesh hazeh, Rosh Chodeshim hu lachem. This month is the head of the months for you. Rishon hu lachem michodshei hashana. This is your first month to all the 12 months of the year. Now, what does it mean, the first month? Didn't we start the new year on Tishrei, right? Weren't the high holidays, the new year, celebrated just in the fall? Was it October already? Yeah. So this year. So what are you talking about, the first month? So the Arizal is explaining, Rabbi Zakloria is explaining that two beginnings, the year has two beginnings. One is from the light and one is from the vessel. From the vessel, this is Tishrei. How do you know? You look at the Hebrew alphabet. It goes from above to below. And we spoke about it. Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, all the way, Kuf, Rei, Shin, Taf. So this month of Nisan is starting from Aleph, Bet. It's called the month of Aviv. Aviv, spring. What is Aviv? You can read the word Aviv also as Av Yud Bet, the father of 12 months. Av is also Aleph Bet. Aleph Bet, what is the direction? From above to below. So from the creator point of view, the universe was created on the month of Nisan, the month of Aries. That's why, most astrological calendars start in Aries, start in the spring. Because from the creator point of view, it is being given, because the whole present of this huge amount of light we receive on Passover, and later on in the whole 7 weeks, and then in Shavuot, it's coming from above. So this is Aleph Bet, coming from above. Now, The 7th month, which is Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, this is Taf, Shin, Reish. Taf is the last letter, Shin, second from the back, Reish, third from the end. So we have Taf, Shin, Reish is going from below, above. This is our place to reciprocate and to create a vessel of life for the whole year. So that's why in Rosh Hashanah it depends on our actions. On Passover, we just have to stay away from negativity and allow the light to come in so we can get this recharge for a whole year. So the recharge has to be going together with cleansing. That's why what we read is the story of the orders Moses and Aaron got from the Creator just before the Exodus. And what the orders are saying? The orders are saying, first of all, HaChodesh Hazeh Rosh Chodoshim Hu Lachem. The word Lachem appears twice. Lachem means yours. Take over. Take charge. Get in charge of the celestial bodies, of your astrology. Get in charge over your nature. And that's why you have to control the astrological chart. This is the month to control astrological charts. It's starting on this Saturday, on this Shabbat. And this is the time to control by, first of all, by awareness that we have the ability to overcome. So the fact that I was born an Aries, a Taurus, a Gemini, what's next? Cancer, whatever, all Leo, Virgo, this is the given. I was born this way. But does that mean I'm supposed to be this way? No. Not just the Aries, okay, the negative aspect. This is my tikkun. This is what I have to work on. So being aware that it's lachem, it's yours. And then if you're really aware of it, it becomes from lachem, it becomes melech. Melech means a king. You become the king. You get in charge. You are now in control. First of all, you have to be aware of your traits, of your zodiac traits, because the zodiac signs are basically symbols of the different traits of humans, and every human being has it in a different way, different combination, but we can see the game and the play of those traits in one of us, because every person has this excitement and happiness like a child of the Aries, and also the stubbornness and getting upset very easily. Every person has those Aries moments because every person has an Aries within him somehow. Every person has also the attachment to physicality and to aesthetics and beauty and pleasure and whatever and materialism, and that's a Taurus. And every person has this I want to know what's going on in the world and hear what people have to say, and I have to, and that's a Gemini. And, I'm just making it really shallow. But we all have all of those traits, and when we have to be aware that each trait has two sides. If it is selfish, we have to turn it around to become sharing, caring, a tool, a seed for another cloud. Okay? So this job is about, first of all, controlling the zodiac signs. So that coming Shabbat is about controlling the zodiac. Controlling the zodiac, what does it mean? Instead of, what can I do? I'm an Aries. What can I do? I'm a Taurus. What can I do? I'm a Gemini. It says, I am, and I have this rising and this moon and this, that, and this planet over here, and we have those planets on the 10th house. All of this, I have it, and this is part of my calling. It's not my downfall. It's my calling. I have to look at it. This is yours. You are the king. Take charge. Use it in order to control yourself. Always look at the positive. Okay, when you do that, then there is also, and as it says, before the new moon of Aries, of Nisan, in the time of the year of the Exodus, Moses is being told by the Creator on, as we said, Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. Take charge of the month. Take charge of the zodiac signs. Take charge of Aries, which was basically the ram god, was the main god of the Egyptians. Take charge of it. Then, on the 10th day, take a lamb for each household and tie him up to tie the power of the Egyptians. And then you slaughter it in the afternoon of the 14th day, between just at nightfall of the full moon. Slaughter that lamb and roast it on fire, while thinking that by doing that, you take that power of Egypt, the power of slavery, the power of what makes every person think small, limited as a slave, slaughter it, burn it on fire, till you get the redemption. And what else it says? And you eat it up with matzah and maror, with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. When was that said? More than 2 weeks before the Exodus. So just when did we eat the lamb with the matzah and the maror? At sundown of that night, that is the full moon. When did we leave? Just the morning after. So why does it say that we eat matzot on Passover? Oh, because the bread did not leaven. But we ate the matzah before the night even started, as the night started. So why didn't leaven? Because we were told not to let it leaven. So the matzah, says the Zohar, this is the remedy against evil inclination, against negativity, against whatever is disturbing us, against all the narrow-mindedness, against all what makes us small, stay in the childish level 1 and preventing us moving up to level 2, 3, 4, and 5 till we create our own cloud. And then we walk on that cloud wherever we go. And then we can look from that cloud on everything from a different point of view, from a point of view that is connection to light, to spirituality, to wisdom, to the right thing, to the positive thing. And that's when the Adam in us is taking control over the beast in each one of us. Thank you. Have a great week, a great month of Aries, of Nisan, and time to start preparing for Passover, cleaning the house, and don't go into the cleaning issue. It's not the cleaning, the physical cleaning. It's a spiritual cleaning of removing whatever makes us small, nervous, upset beast away, so the Adam in us can rise. Thank you. Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov, and all the best.